Okay, welcome to another DipIt. Now I get this request a lot, which is the dandelion in resin. And I've mostly rebuffed it and said no, I wasn't interested because it's already been done. But the requests keep coming, and so I figured we'd give it a shot. All right, so pretty straightforward. I'm going to mix up 4 ounces of polyester resin. I am trying very hard not to breathe hard. I do not want to lose these dandelions. They were the only 2 I could find in my yard. But the 2 I found are pretty decent. So we'll try dipping the really nice one first. We're just gonna go gung-ho and presume that everything's gonna go perfectly. Because it, you know, so rarely doesn't. All right, so what I've got is a stir stick here, and I've drilled a small hole in it. There we go. And so now I should be able to invert this into my mold, and it won't go in any further than that. Okay, is it intact? Hard to tell. So we have soft set, which means it's mostly done, but it's still warm. Make sure that I am perfectly level here. That's it. Walking away. All right, it's been a couple of days. Let's see how we fared. It's actually got some interesting shimmer there. Kind of cool from the side, but really cool from the top. Well, I gotta be honest, that was a lot easier than I was expecting. It actually went really smooth. So, why don't we do a couple more? Why don't we turn this from a dandelion dip into a MultiDip? Okay, so since the dandelion was relatively simple, let's dip some other stuff. What I get all the time is, you should dip resin shavings in resin. And so I've saved some a while back. And here's what we're talking about. These are the shavings that come off the lathe. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what's gonna happen, but I don't want to spoil it for you. 19, 20. Okay. And mix thoroughly. As I've said, one of the major issues with this is not mixing it thoroughly enough. White resin shavings in resin pretty much disappear. So what we will see in this casting is evidence of their existence in the fact that they will trap bubbles. All right, it's been, I don't know, 12 hours, maybe a little bit more. You can already see what's happened. All of those fibers have pretty much gone translucent. Getting these things out of the mold is not very difficult. Just a little bit of pressure, and they pop right out. So that's what happens when you put resin shavings in resin. They disappear. Kind of interesting. All right, now the other one that I get quite a lot is, can you put wood shavings in epoxy? And you totally can. But the problem is if you just put this, mix this up into glue, you're just gonna get particle board. And if you were to pulverize this even further, you'd get, you know, MDF. I don't think you wanna see me make particle board, and I don't think you wanna see me make MDF. So I guess what you're really asking is, can we suspend some of the larger shavings in resin? Pardon the bench here. It's a light duty bench, it's not really set up for this. A little rocking. If this rig's a rocking, I'm probably doing hand plane work. It's almost amusing you have to wait for a DipIt episode to actually see me using hand planes. That is one squeaky bench. Okay, but I think we've got more than enough here for the experiment. And I think it's going to look a lot more interesting than just making particle board or MDF. Okay, I feel like we should all be experts at this by now. We're going to mix up another 4 ounces of resin. I want big open ones inside. I don't think we'll have room for too many. Get down. Down. Kind of neat looking. See what it looks like after it's done curing. So I'd like to thank Audible.com for once again supporting Shop Time by sponsoring this episode. I have yet to meet someone who hasn't seen the movie Jurassic Park, but I have rarely met someone who's actually read the book. 11 years ago, I picked up the book on a whim, and now I am completely convinced that dinosaurs exist. The book will give you insight into the characters, some plot twists that never appeared in the movie, and a fantastic follow-up in Lost World that they should have gone with in the cinemas. Now, if dinosaurs aren't your thing, don't worry, there are over 250,000 titles to choose from. And if you go to audible.com/Peter Brown, you can sign up for the service free of charge and download a book of your choosing. Even if you decide not to continue on with the service, you get to keep that book. And I'd like to just thank Audible.com for continuing to support this channel and what I'm doing here. Let's have a look. That's interesting. It's almost too shiny to get a good picture of it. You can definitely see the curls in there. All right. So those were easily my top most requested DipIts. The dandelion, the resin shavings, and then wood shavings in resin. And some of those you might not be surprised how they came out, and some of them they might have surprised you. I think this is the most interesting, not with the result, but with the fact that those resin shavings just completely disappear. I think a lot of people aren't expecting that. I know some of those hand tool guys really get obsessed with their shavings, so this way you can memorialize. You know, you can even write on the back how thin they were, what your favorite plane was. My first dandelion came out really nice, and then I left it on the mat overnight, and I'll see if you can see that. When I pulled it up, it had stuck to it. I ended up making a second one. I don't know, it just wasn't, it's not as big, so it's not as cool looking as this first one was. It's all sticky on the bottom. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to let it sit and see if maybe it finishes hardening up. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next episode.